Hello, and thank you for contacting Wave Support. I see from your clinical request you have a keratoconus patient who's post-PK and you're struggling with a bit of a pterygium problem. From your history, I see that you started with an on-K lens, a smaller diameter, that was decentering, and you progressed to a smaller scleral design, and now you're working on a larger scleral design, but still struggling with some tight peripheral curves. Well, let's take a look at your design. I pulled up here your most recent design. And what I noticed, I think one of the, it's actually a pretty nice design overall, but I think where you're being limited a little bit is because of this back OZ point, just from the sheer limitations of the lens curvature. I think when this is a little bit smaller OZ, I think it's going to limit how flat you can get this peripheral curve out here. And so what I recommend you might try is going to the, I don't know if you tried the design tool. That's what I like to use quite often in these cases. I'm going to pull one up here, a lens that I kind of mocked up. And basically what I did is I just went down here to the tools and chose semi-scleral design and let the lens do its own thing. And you'll see when it designs this lens, I'll pause for just a moment while it's doing that. Okay, welcome back. And now you see once this lens has been designed, if we go back to your original design, you have a little bit of a steep edge angle over here. It doesn't want to come up. But if we go to this newer one, you'll see that we have a much flatter edge angle. So I think that'll help you out with that peripheral lift area. We also look centrally here on your current design. You have an apical clearance of somewhere around 53.9, and this newer design gets you a little bit more at 124, right around that 100 mark. So I think this design will more likely give you a little nicer clearance over that entire graft, and hopefully give you a little nice landing zone with a little flatter peripheral curve out there. So with that design, I think you do much better. And just a side note, I went back and looked at your original on-corneal designs, and one thought is if you end up having to go back that route, if you try to reinvestigate that, one of my thoughts is sometimes what I'll do on these lenses, because you end up obviously with a pretty small landing area in these lenses, so it doesn't give you much area to work with. And so sometimes what I'll try to do is get a little bit larger landing area to try to incorporate this mid-curve to see if I can kind of line it up a little bit more along that steep meridian on this lens. Hopefully that'll get that lens to center a little bit more nicely and be less likely to rub on that graft. So what I did on this lens, I just took a little different design, and all I did is I brought this optical zone a little bit smaller. You can see I brought it a little closer to the start of that steep area. I set it at about 6.0 or so here, no, 5.28. And then I redesigned it, and you see what we end up with is a lens that has a little bit more uniform landing area. And so sometimes this kind of lens will give you a little bit better chance of getting to center better and be less traumatic to that corneal graft. So it's just a thought on more the on corneal design. Of course, anytime you can keep a lens off that entire graft, which is kind of nice, and that's why we might recommend starting with the wave tool and trying to go up to about right around 16 or so, and that'll give you that smaller edge angle, flattening it out for you. Well, I wish you well with this case. Good luck, and thank you for contacting Wave Support.